welcome to One Cardinal, One Cub, and One Beer. We have a Milwaukee theme going right now because our guest, Brendan Sienko, is from Milwaukee, and you'll be hearing from him later on in the program. And so I thought, in honor of Milwaukee, I'm going to do the One Beer Corner with Miller Lite. So I do want to say to begin with, please like us on Facebook because we like our friends. You can contact us through one card, one cup, one beer at gmail.com. You can support our efforts through Patreon. You just go to patreon.com, search one cardinal, one cup, and one beer to support our efforts. And please, those of you who watch us on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel. And then you will be notified immediately when we drop new content because, man, we drop it like flies, well, once a week. So if you want to be a contestant in one of our trivia contests, a guest on one of our panels, if you think you have an interesting baseball-related story or anecdote, much like our guest Brendan does today, a connection to baseball that would make a great story, please let us know. We love to have our friends on the program. And JJ, I know the people in St. Louis think this is heretical to have a Miller product.
It doesn't bother me any.
This is our beer corner.
Yes.
And I have Miller Lite in the aluminum bottle.
Very nice. Keeps it cool.
Look at this.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
Big Red Camel X 1120. That's how old this is. This
Football
is
Cardinals.
40 years old. Yeah, the Big Red were the football Cardinals before the Arizona whisked them away. And then we got the Rams. Then we lost the Rams. And now we
Battle Hawks.
L team, the Battle Hawks. So,
Anyway,
let me tell you a little bit about Miller Lite. Miller Lite is the original light beer. A lot of people don't know that. They think it's Bud Light, but actually Miller Lite is the original light beer that was first brewed in 1975 by the Miller Brewing Company of Milwaukee. And the reason they decided to do a light beer was because in the mid 70s, people were starting to pay more attention to calories to try to lose weight. And so they thought if we can come up with a beer that has a lot less calories, then we're not going to lose beer drinkers. In fact, we're probably going to not just retain, we're probably going to get more people because, hey, here's a beer with less calories. So it was not easy because up to 1975, there really wasn't a light beer in the history of beer. And beer goes back thousands of years. So the trick was to come up with a low calorie beer, yet retain the flavor. And Miller did a great job. They used to have the great Miller Lite commercials. Rodney Dangerfield made his name on those.
Everybody.
Oh, yeah. So Miller Lite is an American Pilsner. It has 96 calories, which, is not great compared to like the ultra beers, like I had Mick Ultra, the first beer corner that we did, but it's still a very good option for those of you who are watching calories. The foundation of Miller Lite is malted barley. It contains water, the barley malt, corn syrup, dextrose. They never use high fructose corn syrup, which is how they keep the calories down. Yeast, hops, and hop extract. They brew it, they bottle it, they ship it, we drink it. Bottoms up.
Hey, bottoms up. Now, can you tell that's a diet beer? If somebody just handed you and said, try this, would you know that's a diet beer?
I can tell. Like last week I had Budweiser. The week before I had Mick Ultra. I can tell this is not Budweiser, and I can tell it's not an Ultra. I can tell it falls in the middle.
Okay.
The flavor, a full flavored beer is just very robust. Of course, your dark ales will practically kill you. Those, especially those European ales. They're very dark. And maybe I'll have enough guts to do one of those on a beer corner once. But yeah, I've tried a few of those, and man, I'm just too big of a wimp. There's a dirty joke about American beer, like making love in a canoe. It's blanking close to water. Yeah. So I can tell it's between there. But it does have a really good flavor. But it's like I don't drink much beer, but it's like diet sodas. That being I started drinking sugar-free diet sodas when I became diabetic. Now, if I accidentally drink something that's not sugar-free, it it tastes like I'm pouring syrup down my throat or molasses or something. Kind of the same thing with beer, not with the sweetness, but when I drink something like last week, I had Budweiser. It's probably the first time I've had beer that wasn't a light, at least a light beer in 20 years. Yeah, I was like, whoa, man, very robust flavor. And for an American beer, because American beers are like making love in a canoe. So
The thing I remember about them was their commercials, like you said, less filling, tastes great. And Bob Euchre, Dick Buckus, everybody. It was a big event. Billy Martin and George Steinbrenner, everybody was on those commercials. Louis Tiant, I remember did some of those commercials. So if you get a chance, go back on YouTube and watch some of those light beer from Miller commercials. They were fantastic. You couldn't wait to see the next one.
now I can't sing at all, but there was Joe Frazier doing. I can sing that whole song through,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to because I can't sing. If you order a beer at your line smoking Joe, order light beer from Miller and say no one's got a third less calories than a regular beer. Lights less filling, say less in the ear. It's not the flavor that makes me shout. Lights less filling, that really knocks me out.
Yeah.
And then
Oh, you're
silent,
good.
and he turns around to the bar and they all start cheering.
Yeah.
Uh, anyway, JJ, give us an update on our fantasy league.
Our fantasy league. By the way, you talked about music. I'm going to throw a little music at you before we get started. I heard the future. This is me being a fan. I heard the future of country music. Country music kind of went through a Vegas style country or a pop style country, and I like the more traditional. And there's a young lady, 23 years old. She's been a songwriter, wrote songs. So that's a check mark. She writes her own songs, plays about 4 different instruments. So that's a check mark. Very talented, incredible voice. Sounds a little like Stevie Nicks. Has a little Stevie Nicks growl to her voice. And her name is Ella Langley. And her first album has just come out. And I tell you what, I've heard about 7 songs off of it, and they're all fantastic. And she got to do an appearance at the Grand Ole Opry, and oh, the guy who sings In Color with the big beard and long hair, Jamie Johnson, I think's his name, introduced her. No, that's
I
a
don't
great
know.
song, by the way, about his grandpa talking about pictures. And he was like, you think that's something, you ought to seen it when I was there, In Color. So anyway, he introduced her. She's fantastic. So Vince, I'm telling you, you love country music, go check out Ella Langley. And she's pretty easy on the eyes, which, that's another little check mark right there. Just saying.
Years ago, this is when Leanne Rimes was popular. A lot of people
Oh,
don't
yeah.
even remember her, but she gained popularity at the age of 13. And her biggest hit, her first big hit was Blue, the old Patsy Cline song.
Oh, she did
And she
great.
sang it traditionally country. But my daughter, Tabitha, was about 7 or 8, and I got tickets at the amphitheater, and I said, "We're going to go to a concert." I because she liked Leanne Rimes. I said, "We're going to go see Leanne Rimes." Okay, so she's just going the way there. She's not paying attention or anything. I'm thinking, "Gosh, and we said money on tickets. She doesn't even care." So we got there, and then uh, I can't remember who opened for her. Some guy opened for her that Tabitha knew. She's like, "Oh wow, what? He's really there." Yeah, there he is. So then when Leanne Rimes come out, she was like, just excited. I'm like, you didn't care about this. So on the way home, I said, you really didn't seem like you were too turned on about this until, she said, well, I didn't think she would really be there. I thought we were going to go watch like videos or something
Oh,
of her. No, a concert's whenever they play live stuff. So,
yeah. Was that her first concert?
uh, probably her first concert. Yeah. Yeah. Oh gosh. I took her to go see Britney Spears. That was awful. But the worst one is we went to go see um uh Backstreet Boys.
Oh, you sat through a back. You're a good dad.
It was at the Dome,
Ah,
and there was this girl in back of me just screaming at the top of her lungs about a 10-year-old girl, Justin, you're so hot. Justin, you're so hot. And she did this through about 45 minutes.
wow.
And it was so cheesy. It was so bad. I mean, it was catered towards young girls, you know. They did silly skits and stuff like that. It was just like, oh my gosh, this is embarrassing. And my daughter, who's a pretty practical person, she looked at me, she said, Dad, are you ready to go? Yes, I'm ready to go. So we left after about 45 minutes. Oh
Oh
gosh,
man.
they would be dancing and they were playing on toys because they just did an album where they were doing like toys and stuff. So they would be on like these bouncy toys and everything. And then they would be up there singing, and you could tell they were lip syncing because their lips were moving, but they were sucking wind
Yeah,
from all the activities they were doing. So,
man. And Milli Vanilli got crucified for doing that.
oh
Well,
yeah,
they didn't even sing their songs either. They didn't.
yeah, poor guys,
Poor guys.
late Milli Vanilli. So
Oh man. Well,
anyway, fantasy league.
the fantasy league. We are now in week 7. And I have to say this, the 2 top teams have been the 2 top teams for the last 4 weeks. And remember, when August ends, whoever's in first place goes to our World Series. It's the team that wins the most in September when the it's $100 worth of stuff for the Cardinals. Uh, or yeah, it's baseball. It's it's mostly Cardinal stuff. But here's how it's looking right now. The American League, the Royals, which is Brody Jackson, the little punk, he's pulling further ahead. He's 3.5 games ahead now of the Seattle Mariners, which is Gieselman, Andrew Gieselman, the beer man from St. Louis Cardinals. The Red Sox have jumped from 4th to 3rd, and that's Ray Hartman. They're 5.5 back. But the Tigers now have fell from 3rd to 4th, and that's Tony Pruno, who's 6 games back. The Angels have really been descending down. They're 19 and 29. That's Candy Barks, and she's 10.5 back. And the last place team in the American League, in our fantasy league, is the Chicago White Sox. Dan Rutledge, 14 and 34. Ouch. 15.5 back. So that's the American League. So the Royals have held on for 4 weeks to the number 1 spot. Now we flip over to the National League, and it's your Chicago Cubs in first place. Larry Wildy, although the lead went from 3.5 down to 2 because the Padres are starting to creep up on them, which is Robbie Spear. He's 2 games back. Then you got the Nationals. Murjay's hanging in there, 4 games back. The Pirates are also 4 games back, which is Dennis Rose. The Cardinals are 4.5 back. And then in last place, you got the Rockies, which is Brandon Schmidt, 10 games back. They're 15 and 31. Kind of the National League's Chicago White Sox. So that's where we're sitting right now. Right now, it looks like the Royals and the Cubs. That could be the World Series we have this year.
Well, hopefully,
Yeah, that'd be
it
nice.
would be a great real World Series. The Royals.
It sure would be.
That'd be
Yes,
awesome.
sir.
I know I would watch it.
Me too.
A couple weeks ago, my family, minus Rebecca and Tabitha, who couldn't make it, so we replaced them with JJ and Troy Lou. And I have been so busy, I have not yet been able to get a video up, but I've done it. So here's the adventures of our game, the Cardinals versus the Mets.
Kathy, how are you enjoying this game?
It's nice night. Don't want to lose
Do you think
Nice night.
you think you're gonna
The brownies are good.
brownies are good?
Barbecue brisket is excellent. Why are you so close?
But how are you enjoying the game?
Well, it's a game. Games are always fun. I don't enjoy the fact that the Mets have more points than we do.
I do not like the term points.
Really? I had no idea.
All right, well, enjoy the rest of the game.
Okay.
Hey, Troy, how you doing again?
Good.
This is Troy Liu, one of our faithful listeners. How you enjoying the game?
Yes, I am. Waiting for a comeback. Gotta have one in this game.
Right now, the Mets are up 3-0. Kind of sad.
Yeah, we're hitting under 200 almost as a group, so we need to pick it up here.
Yep. Hard to score runs when you hit 200.
Yes, it is.
JJ, how are you doing?
I am doing great. I'm here at the Holy Land, the magical place, Busch Stadium. I think I've won 3 in a row. When I come, they've won 3 in a row. So I'm hoping it's 4 tonight. Both Marks that like the Mets. You guys are up 3-0, but it ain't over yet. Not until the fat man sings.
All right. So JJ's going to sing tonight.
I'm warming up.
All right. Daughter Evelyn. She is responsible for our logo at One Cardinal, One Cup, and One Beer.
I'm doing the 999 challenge, but instead of hot dogs and beer, it's sauerkraut and salad.
Okay, sauerkraut and salad. And as you can see, she's got all the room in the world to put it. So, salad. Yeah, she's a vegan, so she's used to eating grass and stuff like that. So. This is my daughter Violet. How are you enjoying the game?
Did you get my brownies?
No, your mother is going to get your brownies.
What do you have to ask me?
How are you enjoying the game?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've converted to the Mets after the second inning, so it's been pretty sweet for me.
Okay. And Kathy, how are you enjoying the game?
Well, I was enjoying it fine until I heard that. You're not getting the brownie.
Whoa. My son-in-law, Mondo, who's at his first Cardinal game. What is the difference between seeing a Cardinal game and going to Dodger Stadium? Colors. Now, are the Cardinal hot dogs as good as the Dodger dogs? No?
Can't beat a Dodger dog.
All right. Well, at least it is edible here. All right, Max. How is the 999 challenge going?
Well, I'm not going the distance. I'm just doing the 9 hot dogs.
Okay.
I'm number 5. And you're number 3. So
Okay.
I have to switch to soda at this point.
Because if you were going to go 9 beers, she'd been sleeping on the couch at our house tonight. So.
Exactly. So 3 beers, 6 Cokes, and 9 hot dogs.
So, this is for the podcast, so tell everybody where you've been.
I've just been busy.
Just been busy. He's been incarcerated.
All right, we were
Great
the
seats.
best looking guys there.
Oh, well, yeah, that's without saying. But that's most of the times.
Yeah. And for those of you who have asked where Max is, proof that he is still alive. Okay. Just got busy, as he said. So, JJ,
Yes, sir.
Ellie De La Cruz is on pace for 106 steals.
Mm.
Do you know that nobody has stolen 80 bases since 1988?
Wow. I can imagine that. The stone base kind of went away for a while.
Yeah, it's almost 40 years.
I can't believe it.
Just 2 years ago, 2022, John Birdie led baseball, and it was by about 8 steals. He led baseball in stolen bases. Guess how many he had?
40?
41.
Oh, yeah. That would have been the top 10 in the 80s, 70s.
This is amazing because in such a short time, we have went from a station to station game to where the stolen base is a huge factor. And it's not just the bigger bases. That has been the catalyst to get some more people running. But what has really led this is the super athletic, super fast players we have coming up to the major leagues in past few years. Ellie De La Cruz runs like the wind. Uh, uh, Witt Jr. runs like the wind. On our team, PCA is stupidly fast. So it's not just the bases have gotten bigger, so they're a smidge closer together, and they're you can only do the two pickoff per at bat.
Right.
Actually one, because you better get them with a second one or they're automatically going to get the base. But it's pumped for me at least, and I'll get your thoughts in a minute. But it's pumped a lot of excitement into the game. Frustrates me when I watch the Reds steal 6 bases off of us last year in a game. Why can't we do that? But it has put the athlete at the forefront of baseball again, as opposed to the slugger. Now, there are sluggers that are athletes, but let's face it, there are some sluggers that are just not athletes. All they do is hit the ball a long way. That's it. That's their skill set. But it has made the game a lot more athletic. What do you think about this?
Oh, I absolutely love it. I love all the aspects of the game. Seems like I've had more bunts this year too. I know the Cardinals have bunted maybe 11, 12 times already this year. Ciani and Wynn have bunted. The other day, they shifted as far over as they could, and Burleson just bunted down the line and got a base hit. And I'll tell you, that kid is going to be fantastic. But getting back to the running, I absolutely love it. Hit and run. And I think because the stolen base was taken out of the game, just because I guess they did some sabermetrics where it's like, it's not worth taking the risk of getting caught and killing the inning.
Bill James killed the stolen base.
And so just swing away. You got 3 shots at hitting a home run and getting a big inning that way. I think some of the pitchers haven't developed their pickoff game or hold them on first base as long as they can game. So now the pitchers are going to have to adapt to this new thing that's going on. Plus the super athlete. You're right on, Vince, with the super athletes. These guys, just this week, the Cardinals had 2 games where we stole 4 bases. And Goldschmidt got 2 of them, and they were on double steals. So you're starting to see that more. I absolutely love it. It keeps you engaged. I really do. When you say, "Oh, look who's on first," like PCA's on first. Oh, it's about to get good now, and he's getting his lead, and they can only go throw over there twice or the third time, but they better get him or he gets the base. It just creates more excitement, and they sped the game up, which is cool. And but the stolen base, I guess you saw this last night. Yelich stole home.
I did not see that.
Well, what it was the catcher was just kind of got lazy. He was just kind of lobbing the ball back to the pitcher, and Ellie kept getting a lead off. And about the third time, he just kind of lobbed it back to the pitcher. He took off. The pitcher grabbed it, threw it right back, and he slid in. He was safe. And so that was like, oh man, that's great. So Yelich, who's not known for his, he's a fast guy, but he's not like, Dela Cruz or anybody like that.
He's faster than Glenn Brummer, but
Roger Freed, about like that.
I don't think Roger ever stole home. Glenn Brummer will forever be my favorite steal of home, though.
Oh yeah, that was a classic. See, and just like that, we talk about stolen bases. That was so long ago. It wasn't in the playoffs, but a lot of us remember that exact moment, that game, the Giants, and we won the game on that stolen base. So of all the people that would steal a base, he's the last person, or second to last person you would think that would do it. So Vince, to answer your question, yes, I love that the stolen base is back. The pitchers are going to have to make some adjustments. Some of them used to do that slide kind of thing where they had their foot out, and then they pitched a little different, but that might take some of the velocity off their pitches too. So we'll see. It just opens up the game, and I really like that.
When John Lester was with the Cubs, and he had the yips, he couldn't throw to first.
Yeah.
He became really good at holding runners on first base by varying his windup time, varying when he was, he wouldn't necessarily quick pitch, but sometimes he'd just get the ball through it. Sometimes he'd kind of wait a little bit. Now with the clock, it'd be somewhere he'd have to keep his eye on the clock. But he became really good at holding runners on the first base. And the secret of holding runners is not to have a great pickoff move. The secret to holding runners is to have a quick motion to home. when you have a high leg kick, it takes time for the leg to go up and the leg to go down, so that's extra time that the runner gets. But when you've got a pitcher who is really good at slide stepping, they can hold runners on much more effectively than a pitcher with a great pickoff move, because the ball gets to home faster. The catcher has a much better chance at throwing them out. So it's not necessarily the pickoff move. It is the time it takes to go home. It's always difficult to steal off a left-hander.
Yeah.
I learned that in Little League.
They're looking right at you.
Yeah, I'm first time I was on first base, there was a left-handed pitcher, and he didn't throw that hard. And I thought he was going into his windup. I took off for second. He threw it to first, and there I wasn't a rundown before I knew it. It's like, wow.
Oh yeah.
Left-handers are weird.
But like you said with pitching, it's the art of taking off your rhythm. I think holding the runner and using your pickoff moves is the same thing, taking him out of his rhythm where he's trying to get the rhythm so he can take off. And like you said, quick pitching or pitching faster or a little slower, all that they're picking up on that. When you get in a rhythm, these professional athletes are just going to use that to their advantage.
Yeah.
Well, Vince, I got a couple things I was wanting to talk about. I know it's going to kind of take things down a little bit, but we had a couple of folks pass away over the last couple of weeks. Sean Burroughs, I don't know if you remember him.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Sean, he was the #1 draft choice of the San Diego Padres. Kind of became a big star in the Little League World Series. He was a great big kid, and he was a phenomenal pitcher and a power hitter, and they won the World Series 2 years in a row, the Little League World Series. Later became part of the Team USA with Tommy Lasorda as the coach and won the gold medal. Came up as a highly prized minor leaguer. And his dad was Jeff Burroughs, 1974 MVP with the Texas Rangers. And they actually had a losing record. You don't see many MVPs on teams with losing records, but that's how good Burroughs was at 74. But he passed away at the age of 42, and I really hate to hear that. And anyway, I just remember him as this kid who always had a smile on his face, had a decent career too, but he's always seemed like he had injuries and things like that, and really couldn't get his momentum he needed. So I just wanted to remember him today. And also a friend of the show, Mr. Bill Haggard, who was my teacher at Hillsboro, who listened to the show all the time, would send me notes and said, hey, why don't you talk about this? Why don't you talk about that? And I said, well, why don't you come on and talk with us? But he got a little shy and he said, I don't do very good on the videos. And just a wonderful guy and kind of a hero of mine, because when I was in 9th grade, most guys now are starting to get interested in girls and cars, but mine was just baseball. And Bill was a guy who was an adult who was very, he was a college graduate, and his love was baseball too. And he loved Kenny Boyer and the Cardinals, and we would talk all the time and go to card shows and things like that. So just a top-notch guy, and he will be deeply missed. So I just want to bring those two guys to our attention, Sean Burroughs and Mr. Bill Haggard.
Yeah, I'll comment on both of them. Sean Burroughs, he played in 528 games, and he did put up a 278 batting average, but he was a third baseman, and he did not have pop, which was strange because we saw him in the Little League World Series in 92, 93 just dominate. He was a big kid. He could hit, he could pitch. And he actually was on the Letterman show. And
a great interview.
Yeah, they went outside and he hit some balls on the Letterman show. But he, in 528 major league games, he put up a 278 average. His best year was 2003. He hit 286. Excuse me. He had a 352 on base percentage, a 402 slugging percentage, and that was his problem. He's a third baseman without pop. He only hit 7 home runs in 146 games and only had 7 stolen bases. So he really he had a bat the ball skill set, and he was a singles hitter. And that's what really hampered him, which was kind of strange because everybody thought that you see some kids from the Little League World Series, they start, they kind of hear of them, and then they make it to the majors, and they're pretty good. And he just could not catch footing, and then he had some substance abuse problems. Apparently, got his life back together. And sad thing was, he had just coached his 6-year-old son at a baseball game and went to the car and dropped dead with a heart attack. Just very sad. But I do have memories of Sean, but I have a lot of memories of Jeff playing for the Rangers. Then he had some really good years with the Braves, where he was an all-star year or two. And then he finished his career, I think, in Seattle, where he had some pretty decent years. I always liked Jeff because he had big, thick glasses, and he did not look like an athlete. So
I like those guys too.
but as far as your friend Bill goes, I never met the man in person. My wife has met him. I live in Peevely, and we have a town right next to us, Herculaneum. They're smushed together. We all go to the same high school, Herculaneum High School. And Bill, for many years, was the mayor of Herculaneum. And if we got anybody from Peevely that listens, I don't care if you get angry with me, because I'm going to let out a little dirty laundry here. We have such a dysfunctional, and it may be better now, but for a while we had such a dysfunctional city council that during the holiday parades, every council member was in a different car because they didn't get along. And then you would see the Herculaneum City Council, you have the mayor and the whole city council in one vehicle. I want to be in that city. They seem to get along. So.
Oh man.
Yu Darvish now has 200 combined wins between Japanese and pitching in Major League Baseball in the United States. He trails Hireki Hideo Nomo, and what was Kuroda's first name? I can't remember Kuroda's first name.
I couldn't either.
But anyway, he trails Kuroda, who has 203 combined wins, and Nomo, who has 201 combined wins. So he's going to probably break that this year without a problem. So congratulations to Yu Darvish, and he's doing it right now at the age of 37, and he's currently riding a 25-inning scoreless streak. He's having one of his best years he's had since he left the Cubs. So congratulations to Yu Darvish. Always a class guy. I always liked him. The Royals are 10 games over 500 for the first time since 2015. And what they do in 2015, they won the World Series. So the Royals are going to win it this year.
Hey.
Oh, and I think that's about it. I got for general news.
I got something here. Fernando Tatis Jr. caught his father in career home runs. And I like Fernando Tatis. He was a Cardinal, and he's known for hitting the 2 grand slams in 1 inning off the same pitcher. What's the chances of that?
Yeah,
that's amazing. But Fernando Tatis Sr. had 113 home runs in 949 games. Well, Junior now has 114 home runs in 458 games. And Senior was a 265 hitter. Junior's a 277 hitter. Nothing against Senior, but Junior's just a phenomenal player who, if he stays healthy, the world is his. It looks like he's going to be just one of those special players. You can move him sort of like a Mookie Betts. You move him to shortstop, he could be MVP, the Gold Glove shortstop. You center field, he can play that. Wherever you put him, that kid can play, and he makes your team better. But Vince, this is the stat I wanted to get to. Since baseball started in 1876, there's only been 20,618 players as of yesterday that have made it to the pros to play. With that being said, there is 250 combinations of father and sons. So, I mean, just to get to the pros it's a huge task. But for a father and a son to do it, it's only happened 250 times. And to play on the same team is even rarer. So I have some Cubs and Cardinals, father and son combinations. The first one I was going to do was this is going to be fun, and see if you can remember some of these. Of course, we have the announcing team of Harry Carey and Chip Carey, which is fantastic. I like that for the history of the game. And of course, over here in St. Louis, we had Jack and Joe Buck. So that's kind of cool. And Saturday, Chip and Joe are going to do a game, a Cardinal Cup game at Busch Stadium, and I can't wait to listen to them too in the box. Just talk about history. That's going to be cool because Joe hasn't done a baseball game in quite a while. But here are the first of all, how many father-son combinations do you think played for the Chicago Cubs?
I can think of oh shoot, the catchers.
Yes.
Names escape me right now. Gosh, all-star catcher.
You're right on that though. Yeah.
They have gosh, what's his name? Tell me his name.
Randy Hundley.
Randy Hundley. Yeah, Randy
Yes.
and his son, who was
Yeah.
busted in Chicago.
Yeah, Todd. Well, here is some, and maybe you can give me your recollections of some of these guys. First of all, Joe Coleman and his son Casey Coleman.
Oh, okay.
Joe played in 1976 for the Cubs and was 2-8 with a 4.10 ERA. Casey played between 2010 and 2012, was 7-13, and his ER was 5.76. So they both had a short career in Chicago, but you know, they're probably they had where I found this, they had their baseball cards up there with the Cubbies.
Man, Joe Coleman and his father also played. So yeah, three generations. But
wow.
Father,
I didn't know that.
But Joe Coleman Jr., Casey's dad, was a really good pitcher. And he had some 21 seasons. He was fantastic.
Okay. Now here's the one I remember: Gary Matthews and Gary Matthews Jr.
Yes, I forgot about that.
Sarge, and I tell you what, for you guys that don't know, he was a tough out, a very athletic outfielder, could run like the wind. He had power, good arm, did it all. But Gary Matthews, I put stud down here when I was describing him, and he helped you guys win a division title in 1984. He was on that team that did that. And then his son, Gary Matthews Jr., had a short career with the Cubs, 2000, 2001. He played there. So that's pretty good. You mentioned earlier, Rick Hudley played in the 60s and 70s with the Cubs, one of the faces, one of the better players on the team. And then Todd Hundley played in 2001 and 2002. And I don't know. I got some numbers to the side, but I don't know what that's for. Now, here's some obscure ones. These are ones here. Bobby Adams and Mike Adams. Bobby Adams played 3 years in the late 50s with the Cubs, and his son Mike played 1976 and 1977, and he was just a utility man, but he was a big part of he was a part of the team. So you had the Adams father and son combination.
The Adams family.
Yeah, I didn't see that one coming. Chris Spire, the shortstop, 85 and 86. And then his son, Justin Spear, who pitched one game in 1998 and then was traded to the Florida Marlins. So Chris Spire and his son were technically Cubbies.
Chris Spire was the first autograph I ever got.
Really? Nice guy?
Playing for the Expos, and went to the game, got there early, and he and Ken Maka wasn't much of a player, but he was a pretty good manager. He and Ken Maka were just out there at the rail signing autographs, and I was there with my uncle. He said, well, here's a piece of paper, go see if they'll sign their autograph. So I got Ken Maka and Chris Spire's autograph.
Chris Spire. Did you get it on a card or
I get just a piece of paper.
Just a piece of paper?
Yeah. I was like 10.
Yeah. You'll never forget it now. You're a fan for life.
Yeah.
Well, the last father and son combination, and there's an odd trivia to this too. Marty Keough, who was an outfielder who played his last 33 games of his career with the Cubbies, and Matt Keough, a pitcher who also played for the Cardinals at one time, played his
screwball.
He put screwball?
Good screwball. Yeah.
All right. Here's one for you. Matt Keough. This is what I remember him for. Do you know who he married?
Mrs. Keough?
I can't get nothing past this man. It was Gina Thomasina. All right. She was some book I heard people talk about, Playboy. I'm not quite sure about this magazine, but she was one of the 3 girls in the ZZ Top videos.
Ah.
Yeah, Gina Thomasina.
Is he still married to her?
I don't know. I don't know, but
Belleville's own Jimmy Connor married a
Eddie McGuire,
yeah, and
St. Louis,
still
Brendan.
married.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's what I heard. I don't know if this firsthand. I just heard this information. So anyway, there's your 6 Cubs father and son combinations. I thought that was cool, and I got Cardinal ones, and I'll kind of just go through them. Although one of these guys only was a coach, Dave Duncan and Chris Duncan, and Dave Duncan, he played. He was a catcher, but he was a coach for 16 years with the Cardinals, and I believe if there's ever going to be a pitching coach go into the Hall of Fame, I think Dave Duncan could be that guy. He's paid his dues. He's been with a lot of people, even before Tony La Russa. He probably could have been a manager if he wanted to. But anyway, I'm just kind of going on about Dave Duncan. I love the guy. And Chris Duncan, who played the outfield for 5 years with the Cardinals. But here's the 3. We got 3 other father-son combinations. Tony Pena, who I love Tony Pena. He caught on his knee, and he could throw from his sitting down and throw people out. And he played 3 years here in St. Louis, but he's known to be a Pittsburgh Pirate. And he had a son, Francisco Pena, who caught 1 year for the Cardinals and was one of Yadier Molina's backup players. So he didn't get to play a whole lot that year. He played 1 year here, and he only played in 81 games. Ed Olivares, who played in 1960 and 61 for the Cardinals, and then was taken in the expansion draft by the Houston Colt 45s. And Omar Olivares. Yeah. And Omar Olivares, who I remember greatly, 1990, 1994, his best season with 11-7. And he played 5 years here with the Cardinals. And finally, Ed Spezio, who was on 3 World Series teams with the Cardinals. I'm sorry, 3, 64 through 68. So that's 3 World Series teams. He was like a super utility player. And of course, Scott Spezio, who was here for a world championship too. So both father and son played in St. Louis, both have world championships here in St. Louis, but dad's got 2 and the son's got 1. So anyway, Vince, I just thought that was some unusual statistics and nice stories about some of our players we remember, and some of those I forgot about. I didn't know Omar Olivares' father played for the Cardinals too.
I did not either, and I did not know that Tony Pena's son was.
Yeah, I had no clue either. We've got a couple other things happening in baseball, Vince. What do you think about Devers from Boston? 6 straight games with a home run.
Michael Busch. I've seen it this year already. So
okay, all right. And then Gunnar Henderson, this is only his 2nd year, rookie of the year, and now he's got a 5-game home run streak going. What the heck, man? Something's going on, man. There's some phenomenal stats going on. 30 stolen bases, 6 home runs in a row. That's amazing. And that's pretty much what I got for the around the league story was there.
So what's going on in Cub news? You're having a better week than we are. So I haven't been able to say that much this year, but
Vince, I was looking at the statistics for attendance because when we went to that game, Troy Lue was saying, "Man, where's everybody at? There's nobody here." So I went through and looked at statistics, and the top 10 teams that have drawn fans this year, of course, the Dodgers are number 1. It's almost like a rock group coming to town with all the stars they got. They're averaging over 46,000 fans a game. But then there's San Diego, 2, Phillies, Yankees, Atlanta. And I understand those 5 teams right there. But then St. Louis is number 6 in attendance. We're averaging 37,142, and the Cubs are number 7 with 34,959 average attendance.
Is that ticket sold or the turnstile? Because I know the night we went, they said there was like 30,000. There is no way there was more than 22,000 in there.
This was tickets sold per game.
All right.
Yeah, per game. But this is pretty good. It's because I always worry about the game. People say, "Oh, the baseball's dying. It's not as popular." But this is just May. Summer hasn't hit yet where people are on their vacations and, the season gets heated up and the races get going. And I think the summer's the big time for baseball. So right now it looks pretty good for those top 10 teams. But the bottom 5, I'll read off the bottom 5 real quickly here. White Sox are number 26, Tampa Bay Devil Rays 27, and I'm sorry, Kansas City, Vince. They're like 26th in the ratings right now, drawing fans. Then the White Sox, Tampa Bay, Miami, and the worst is the Oakland A's, which I could understand that with everything hanging over their heads not being there. So I'm proud the Cardinals are still sixth in attendance, but we went one Monday night and it didn't look good at all. It looked like the place was about 60% empty, didn't it?
Yeah, I think that baseball is moving towards more of a television sport. To go to the game is like a special event, but I think the days where you can sell 15, 20,000 season tickets is kind of waning, because it's just going to a game can be a hassle.
Yeah,
Coming home from work, having dinner, and then turning on the TV is so much easier.
man, you got
And
that right.
if you notice, when they talk about building new stadiums, the seating capacity is getting smaller and smaller. They're talking about, I don't know what's going on in Vegas. That's kind of a screwed up mess, but they were talking about building a stadium with a seating capacity of about 30,000, you know, um, because baseball is just moving into being more of a television type sport. So I think that's just a trend, but viewership is still strong. And a few years ago, I don't know if it's true now, but a few years ago, the number one downloaded app from the App Store was the MLB app. And so it's kind of a sport where you see it better on TV,
Oh yeah.
So I mean, I've been vocal on here. I would much rather watch it on TV than go to a game, because go to a game, there's a lot of moving parts, getting to the game, so on and so forth. I like going to the game. I like it. But if I'm going to watch 150 games a year, 145 of them from the TV is just fine with me. So,
I'm with you on that.
but that Royals attendance, if they keep winning, that's going to shoot up, because they are still the show me state, show me. And if they still show come Flag Day that we are serious contenders, that attendance is going to go up, because as the mid-teen showed, that's a fan base that's just ready to explode, because the fans are there, but they've put up with a lot of bad baseball. It's kind of like the Pittsburgh people. Pittsburgh, when they got really good in the teens, attendance shot up. And because there's some great fans there, and that's the same thing that's going to happen with Kansas City. Same thing that, I'll get into Pittsburgh a little bit later, but anyway, keep going.
Oh, well, we have our Cardinal Hall of Fame, and the teams that have been around a long time, like the Cubs and the Pirates and the Reds, all those teams, really most teams, it's been around since the turn of the century. We have such a thick history, but only a handful of the legends go to the Hall of Fame. And I like the teams having their own smaller Hall of Fame, maybe a player that just had that one year that was just magical and took the team to the next level, or a guy who was not Albert Pujols, but maybe he was Willie McGee. You honor those guys, and I think that's great. The Cardinals have three more going into the Hall of Fame, and one is Dave Duncan, which I love Dave Duncan, and I'm glad he's going to be in our Hall of Fame. Matt Morris, who you're a big fan of, I am too. He was like our ace pitcher. He played 14 years. In St. Louis, he's 101 and 62, 23 complete games. He played 97 to 2005 here in St. Louis. And finally, the last guy going in the Cardinal Hall of Fame is Whitey Kurowski, who played 9 years, all with the Cardinals. He was a third baseman and played in the 40s, from 41 to 49. And he was a 5-time All-Star and a 3-time World Series champion. So those three guys, of course, Whitey's family will be there to accept the award for him, but Matt Morris and Dave Duncan, and that'll be great. So anyway, excited about.
Is that still a fan vote, or are they?
That's a fan vote.
How do you get in there? Because
well, sometimes they have like a special group. You know how the Hall of Fame is? They'll have like the Hall of Famers. They'll have like 20 guys, and they'll put one player in.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's it. Because Kurowski, of course, most of these guys now, And it's kind of sad. We've lost a lot of our legends here lately. Stan and Red and Bob and Lou and Whitey just passed away. And so Ozzy's like our elder statesman now, which sounds odd to me because, I was out of high school, kind of just getting out of high school when Ozzy came over. So that just means I'm getting old, Vince. We're getting old, you know. So that's our 11th induction right there. And the Cardinals also tranched out finally the City Connect jerseys. And I've heard mixed.
I
You,
love them.
you love them. Okay.
Yes.
As soon as I love them, I'll read something. I go, yeah, that's kind of right. So I'm kind of in the middle, but I want one. If I can get an Enos Slaughter City Connect jersey with the Lou and the 1882 and the patch with the arch and that, I don't know, that New Orleans Saints looking thing on the side. I like that. I just kind of like it.
What I liked about it is they kept enough of the old uniform with the bats, the birds on the bat, and I think that's how City Connect should be done. I'm not into the Red Sox wearing yellow and
that's hot.
weird stuff like that. I thought that of all the City Connect uniforms I've seen, I think that that's the classiest that is done the spirit of City Connect, but held on to the tradition of the logo.
I like Atlanta too. Atlanta's got a great one as well. They're
I
City
can't remember
Connect.
that offhand.
It almost looks like the Hank Aaron home run year. He broke it with the feather right here and all that. It's pretty cool. I really like, and the classic colors of the Atlanta Braves, the blue and the white. I really like that.
See, I like Cincinnati's.
You guys just Wrigleyville, the Wrigleyville
I
ones.
like the Wrigleyville one. Although a lot of people hate the Wrigleyville one, I think it's really cool. I like the White Sox. I thought that the black pinstripes with the south side on it, I thought they did a pretty good job capturing that team spirit. So I like that. I like the lettering on it. But I don't make it a habit of getting Cardinal jerseys, but I will get the City Connect Cardinal jersey because I think that's
hey, all right.
I'll
Your
never
wife worked on you a little bit right there.
wear it. So
are you going to get a player on the back? Any particular player?
that jacks the price up when I get a player.
All right. Well, we've only made two moves this week on our team. On the 14th, the prized reliever from the White Sox, which we were very excited about getting. We've heard so many good things. He's been hurt for a while, but Kenya Middleton is going to Springfield to do his rehab and get ready to come back up. And on the 20th, we had, I'll talk about it in a minute, but Chris Roycott went back to Memphis, and we called up a young man named Ryan Lotus, who would be in the bullpen now. They're kind of rotating relievers right now and we almost have to have a relief game every fifth start because Matz is out and Liberators, I think he's better in the bullpen, but he's our fifth starter right now. We really need a fifth starter. So anyway, now talking about the week. Right now on this date last year, we were 21 and 27, and this year we're 21 and 26, half game ahead of where we were last year. But really bad things were about to happen. I was looking down the schedule last year, and there was some really bad streaks we were on. But this week has actually been a pretty good week. Last week we talked on Tuesday, and the Cardinals were playing the Angels late, and we won 7-6. And Sonny Gray pitched, gave up 5 runs in 6 innings, but his ERA is up to 3.05 right now. We had 5 stolen bases in that game. I like that they're running, and Ciani got his 4th, Goldie got his 2nd, Burley got his 1st, and Wynn got his 7th. Burleson, who I tell you what, Vince, this kid, I don't know if we're going to sign Goldschmidt or not, but Burleson needs to find a spot. And I think the reason we're playing better is he's getting to play every day right now. Ciani's playing every day. Lars Nootbaar, who missed the end of spring training, was out for a while. He's starting to get it together. Donovan, a lot of these young guys are playing much, much better. And that's really helped us because we're playing a tough schedule right now. So we won Tuesday 7-6. We moved to Wednesday, the last game against the Angels. Ooh, it'd be nice to get a sweep, but no, we got beat up in that game. We lost 7-2, and the Angels scored 4 runs in the first inning off of Miles Michaelis, and he pitched good the rest of his 5 innings. But when you're down 4-0, it's so tough to come back. Uh, no, I'm so sorry. That game, it was Lance Lynn, 5 innings, 4 runs, and he gave those up in the first inning. And his ERA has steadily been climbing, so he needs to get back on track. But that wasn't such a good game. And Newt was 2 for 4, and Donovan was 2 for 4. So that was that game we lost. We had a day off Thursday, which is good. So we're 1-1. We're coming back, and we come home now for a 9-game homestand, and we're playing the Boston Red Sox on Friday, who I always love watching the Red Sox, and we win 10-6. And they've been struggling a little bit lately. Maybe we caught them at the right time, but old Cal Gibson pitched, and he had 6 innings and 5 runs. His ERA is 4.09. It's starting to creep up a little bit too, but I like that kid. He's a gamer. And the home run that Devers hit off of him, Vince, it was a curveball. It was down. It was a pitch he wanted to chase, and he just went down and golfed that thing around the ballpark. But man, Devers is red hot right now. It's almost like Ortiz in the World Series. Just pitch around that guy. And anyway, we had a whole in that game, we had a 4 home run game, which we haven't had that in a long time. And it was Lars Nootbaar hit his 4th, Gorman hit his 6th. Gorman's either strikeout or home run, it seems like these days. Burleson got his 5th, and Wynn got his 1st. And some players are starting to heat up a little bit. Arenado is playing so much better right now. He's always plays great in the field, but he was 3 for 5 in that game. And anyway, just playing better ball. And they have a catcher over there, Wong, and that guy is fast. He's athletic. He's smart. He's really, he seems like he's a step ahead of the game. And he had 4 hits in that game. And that kid from Boston's going to be a good player. I really like watching him catch. So then we go to Saturday, and we beat Boston 7-2. And the Cardinals were losing that game, but the bullpen and the pitchers kept us close, and we scored 5 runs in the 8th inning and ended up winning that game. And JoJo Romero got his first win of the season. He's 1-0. And I just want to say this about JoJo. We talk about all the bad trades the Cardinals have made. Players go somewhere else and they become better. Well, we traded Sosa, a utility infielder, for JoJo from Philadelphia, and he's come over and been nothing but good. He was injured at the end of last year, but he's pitched really good. And a big part of the success of our bullpen this year has been much, much better. I just want to send him a little shout out there. And we had 4 guys get 2 hits, and Michaelis pitched a better game, and our bullpen went 4 innings with 1 run. So now Sunday, hey, maybe we can sweep the Red Sox. No, it wasn't to be. They killed us 11-3. And Livertor pitched that game. It was a bullpen game, and we didn't, from the beginning, they beat up on us and got a pretty big lead, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger. O'Neill hit a home run. It's good to see him do good, and he credits a lot of his success since he got married and had a baby. He's a married man now, and just, I don't know, just his outlook now and things like that. And he's a veteran too. He's been around a long time, and I wish him nothing but the best. I wish he could have done this in St. Louis, but good for him. I'm glad he's getting to play all the time.
St. Louis, I guess.
I guess so. I don't know what was going on, but sometimes that happens. I remember when Mike Trout got married, and he was always great, but I remember he went on like a hot streak where he hit like 5 home runs in a row when he had his first baby, and they were calling it dad strength. So I don't know if there's anything to that, but anyway, we took 2 out of 3 against Boston, and I was pretty happy about that. 2 out of 3 against the Angels. And then last night we're playing the Baltimore Orioles, and I was excited to watch this Oriole team because they're one of the best teams in baseball. They've got all these young great players. And, maybe we can go in there. We had Sonny Gray going. We got a blessing because Corbin Burnson pitched Sunday. So we didn't have to see him in this series because, man, Corbin Burns, he kind of owns us. That's a tough road to hoe right there. Yeah. But we won last night 6-3, and Sonny Gray had a perfect game going for a while until Chip Carey mentioned it on her TV, and then it all fell apart. Chip, I know Ricky Horton even said something to him, or Brad Thompson, like, hey, you're really not supposed to say anything about that. And anyway, but Wynn, who's played absolutely fantastic, had 2 errors last night, but he had a big hit later on in the game. who win that 6-3, and Siani, who I have just love watching this kid play. He got his first home run, and he was 2 for 4 last night. Another game with 4 stolen bases. So Ollie, man, he's running them. And let's see, Gunnar Henderson had a home run, and this guy is everything you've heard about him, Vince. He's that good. He made some plays in the hole, came up and threw out Wynn, who's very fast going across the diamond. Yeah, made some great plays. He looks good he doesn't get fooled at the plate. He's almost on every pitch. This kid is very super talent. Helsley got his 14th save. So now Sonny Gray is 6-2, and Helsley's got 14 saves. So that's good numbers to see out of those two guys, kind of leaders of our team right there. And anyway, the Cardinals have won 6 of their last 8 games. We've passed the Cincinnati Reds, and we're creeping up on the Pittsburgh Pirates. And I think we're like 6 games out right now. And we got a couple more games with Baltimore. We got the Cubs this weekend, and then we start a series with the Reds. And it's just good to start to see our division rivalry starting now, because we haven't seen hardly anybody from our division except the Brewers this year. So
yeah, we've seen the Brewers and the Pirates.
That's it too.
Yeah, we did see the Brewers in Wrigley. We haven't been to Milwaukee yet. We've been to Pittsburgh, and they've been here. So
we haven't seen nobody but Milwaukee. And it's always good when we get to play the Reds and the Cubs. That's always a fun time.
All right. In Cub news, I found out today that Ryan Sandberg tweeted that he has a report that there are no signs of cancer in his body. So very happy.
Right,
Rhino, one of my all-time favorite Cubs. In fact, this week I texted everybody. This was so silly. I think it was the 11th of May. Someone posted on one of the Cubs groups, Andre Dawson, where would you rank him in Chicago Cub history? And as a joke, I just said 13th, I guess. I mean, I didn't say have any argument. I just said 13th, I guess. I had forgotten about it. And yesterday, Ryan Sandberg liked your comment. Yeah, I'm on a lot of Cub things. Which one did he like? Of all the ones that I post all this intelligent stuff, he picked that one to like. But man, I was like a kid. I'm telling my wife, I'm telling my kids, I'm telling everybody, Ryan Sandberg liked my comment. So I have met some famous people. I've been fortunate in my life. I've met some pretty famous entertainers, some music people. I've met some very famous comics. I've worked with some very famous comics. I'm not starstruck easily. Ryan Sandberg is one that I'm starstruck from. It's like, because that was from my childhood. Oh my gosh. You know, not my childhood, my teenage years. And I was like, is Ryan Sandberg likes my comments. So
cool.
I'm so glad that he's got a report that there are no signs of cancer. Talking about one of my other favorite Cubs in all-time Cub history, Kyle Hendricks has been sent to the bullpen, and I'll get into that in a moment. Transactions this week, Keegan Thompson went on the 15-day IL because everybody on the Cubs has to spend 2 stints on the IL this year. Luke Little's been recalled. Luke Little, he's got either one mode, which is I throw better than anybody in this league and nobody can hit me, or the next mode is where's the freaking plate, and I get lit up. So Colton Brewer, who can't remember who we got him from, but we got him about a month ago. He's been pitching pretty good for us, not in high leverage situations, but he's kind of been moving up in that circle of trust for the manager. He's been placed on the 15-day IL, and Porter Hodge has been called up, and he's one of our prospects that some people are pretty high on. I haven't seen much of him, but it will be interesting to see what he looks like. Miles Mastroboni has been sent down along with PCA, and Luis Vasquez has been called up, his first call up for the Cubs, and Swanson is coming off the IL, and also he was never IL, but he's missed like 5 or 6 games. Horner is playing tonight, so our infield, which the last week has been Mastroboni at short and Madrigal at second, and that's just not a major league infield. And it costs us a game, and I'll get into that pretty soon. It's nice to have Swanson and cornerback in our infield back in shape. I'm like I said, I'm on a lot of these groups, and one thing that the severe negativity this early in the season kind of bothers me. It's like, have you never not watched a baseball game? Have you baseball season? What happens in May may not be the same thing that's happening in September. Last year in May, we were out of it. We were buried. No one had just bothered to we were dead. No one bothered to bury us. I guess that's the old saying. But by the end of June, we were right in the thick of it. It's too early in the season, unless you're like the White Sox or the Rockies, to be crying about stuff. We faced the Pirates 4 games in Wrigley. We are a beat up team. Our middle infield was gone for the whole series. We've had pitching issues with pitchers being on the IL. This is just a beat up team. Pittsburgh came in the first game. What's his name? Jones. I think that's him. Gosh, what's Jared's his first name? I should write this stuff down. But anyway, he came in and he never throws a ball. Everything he throws is strikes. He throws high 90s, low 100s. He's a stud. We lose. The next game, we face Skeens, who pitched 6 no-hit innings. Nobody was going to hit him. In fact, the only hit we got was an infield hit by Jan Gomes. No, that was the first hit we got, was an infield hit by Jan Gomes. Skeens had pitched 6 innings, struck out 11, but got to his pitch count. We were dead. We couldn't hit him. Then we faced Charlie Morton. We beat Charlie Morton. I think it was 1-0. And then I can't remember who else. Oh, Keller. We had to play.
He's great too.
That's 4 really, really good pitchers. I know 2 of them are very young and we don't know, but man, they throw good. I'm telling you, this Pittsburgh team has holes. Rowdy Tellez is not going to make it at first base with 1 home run, 8 RBIs, hitting 180 as your first baseman. That's not going to cut it. They've got other holes. Third base, until Brian Hayes comes back.
Oh, that's right.
Issues at third base. But this team is good. They're not great yet, but this team is really good. There is no shame when you're a beat up team to lose 3 or 4 to them when you're facing that kind of pitching. So all these fans were like, oh gosh, I can't believe it. Did you not watch these games? This is not a bad team. I picked Pittsburgh to finish 3rd, and I still stand by that. I think they are that good because you can have some holes in your team and win 1-0 when you've got a first baseman who can't hit. They can fill that hole and get a first baseman that can hit, and those pitchers are still going to hold you down from runs. When Brian Hayes gets back, pitching is going to get better because he's the best fielding third baseman in baseball. So this outcry that I can't believe we lost to Pittsburgh. This is not the Pittsburgh team of 2 years ago. This is a pretty good team, and they're going to get better. They're up and coming. So, all right, rant over about that. Okay.
No, I'm with you. I hear that from Cardinal fans too. They're so busy to just get upset and jump off the bandwagon. It's a long year, and every team's got great players, and that Reynolds kid is fantastic too for the Pirates. But I'm with you. Some people just think you got to win all the time, and you go out and do your best, and it's a long season, man.
The Cubs, I don't think, have lost 3 games in a row yet this year, which amazes me.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. It's like, have you not watched what's going on with this team with the disabled list? And we're a game and a half out. It's very early, and somehow we're still finding ways to win. So let me We had a bad week. We went 2-4 this week. We started on Tuesday night losing 7-0 to Atlanta. Um, Jamison Tyone did give up 7 runs in 4 innings, but only 2 were earned. His ERA still sits at like 1.61.
Wow.
We have the stupidest ERAs for a team. We only got 3 hits that game, and turn the page. The next night we play Atlanta again on Wednesday. We win 7-1. Talkman 2 hits, Suzuki 2 hits, Bellinger 2 hits, Madrigal 3 hits, Crow Armstrong 2 hits. Talkman hit his 4th home run. Suzuki hit his 1st home run since being called off the IL, so he hit his 4th. Assad 6 innings pitched, no earned runs. He is 4-0 with a 1.49 ERA. Just stupid numbers. Then Pittsburgh comes to town for 4 games. We lose the first game 5-4. Justin Steele pitched for us. He pitched 6 2/3 innings. He gave up 3 home runs to the Pirates. He had 5 runs, 4 of them earned. He had a good first outing when he came back from the IL, but he's kind of struggled since then. Both of those games have been against the Pirates. We lose 5-4. Hap did hit a home run. It's about time Hap did something. The next day we play Pittsburgh again. We lose 9-3. This is the game where Skeen had 6 no-hit innings, 11 strikeouts, 1 walk, 11 strikeouts. He was just nasty. I mean, even though he's lost the first 6 weeks of the season, he was not playing. I still like him for the Rookie of the Year. This is the nastiest stuff from a rookie I've seen since Strasburg. And I know people are comparing him to Strasburg right now, but that's a fair comparison.
Yeah.
His stuff is just nasty. But in that game, we did end up scoring a few runs, 3 runs. Morel had 2 hits. Amaya had a home run. Hendricks pitched 4 2/3 innings, 11 hits, 8 runs, 7 of them earned. His ERA 10.57. And that's why Hendricks is moving to the bullpen. We just can't afford to move him out there. One of the best games of the year we had on Saturday against Pittsburgh. We won 1-0. It was 0-0 going into the 9th. Imanaga's 7 shutout innings. His ERA after 9 starts is the lowest in baseball history. For 9 starts, 0.84.
Ooh.
Harris did end up getting the win because in the 9th, Bellinger hit a double, went to 3rd, and then Morel hit a sacrifice fly, and we won the game. Bellinger slid home, and this is the 3rd time this has happened this season. Twice we called it. This time Pittsburgh called it. That we ended the game waiting for a review to finish the game, but he was called safe, and the review was upheld, so we won 1-0. And then Sunday we lost to Pittsburgh 3-2. Not much happened. We had 2 hits. That's it. Even though we scored 2 runs, we had a double by Bellinger and a triple by Talkman. And Tyone, he pitched 4 2/3 innings, gave up 6 hits, 3 earned runs. His ERA jumped to 2.20. Now, getting back to our middle infield of Mastroboni and Madrigal during that time, Pittsburgh only had 6 hits. 4 of them were infield hits. 3 of them should have been errors. Mastroboni a couple times just didn't get the ball out of his glove on routine plays. We also had a play where Morel didn't, I think it was O'Neill Cruz beat out something. He wasn't compensating, thinking of who's running or something. But anyway, when you give up 4 infield singles, that's weird. That doesn't happen that much, but we had Tyone gave up 4 infield singles, so he pitched good. So 2-4 week for the Cubs. I still stand by what I said, the other day. We're getting healthier. If we can just hang around until we're all healthy, then I like our chances of what we could put on the field. But if we keep having this injury bug, it's almost like we're snake bit. we keep having this, it's going to be a tough season for us to maintain this kind of momentum. And it kind of caught up with us this week. When you have a backup middle infield and they're having trouble making basic plays, it's costing you games. The difference between a 3-3 week and a 2-4 week is huge. 3-3, think, we did okay, 500. When you're 2-4, it's like, oh man, we had a losing week. So we would have had a 3-3 week. We would have had our infield intact, but we didn't. So
And the Brewers haven't run off with it yet. They're playing good ball, but you're right there with them, man. You're right behind them.
yeah, they got holes in their team. They're not like a great team. And I said last week to you, the Cardinals are just an 8-2 stretch from getting right back in it. And I shouldn't have said that because lo and behold, hey,
Thanks,
that
Vince.
Cub guy on that podcast knows what he's talking about. Why don't we just go
We'll follow his lead.
8-2? So
I'm putting you in as the new manager right there, new hitting coach.
there you go. There you go. You know who we should put in as the new hitting coach for the Cardinals?
Oh, if it's my vote, I vote one person, Jeremy Connor.
Jeremy Connor, because he will teach them how to hit the fastball. Comes a time in every man's life when he needs some advice on relationships. You need to listen to the podcast DMDR, which stands for Dating, Marriage, Divorce, Remarriage, from my good friend Jeremy Connor, the Dr. Phil of the Boot Hill. You can find DMDR on Spotify or whatever platform you choose to listen to your podcast. Our guest today comes to us from Springfield, Missouri, but he is originally from the Midwest. And you can tell by his shirt, it's not St. Louis and it's not Chicago. JJ, why aren't you wearing a St. Louis Cardinal shirt?
Well, because I've gotten too fat. I only have so many fat guy shirts. I'll get down where I can get back in my Cardinal shirts.
Okay. All right. Well, Brendan, as I was saying off the air, Brendan is dating one of my daughters, Rebecca, who, of my 4 daughters, I would say she is number 2 on the difficulty scale. So you've got your work cut out for you. The number 1 on the difficulty scale is married. And you deal with her, Mondo. So you're obviously a Brewers fan. Tell us how you became a Brewers fan.
Well, it's kind of like any sports team. I mean, I was born and raised in Milwaukee, so my family would take us to Brewer games all the time. Tailgating's huge up there in Milwaukee, so a lot of summers of going to games, and I just fell in love with the team that way, just kind of the natural way. So always been a Brewer fan.
So about what age did you really get interested?
It's a good question. I would just go to games because that was the thing that we did up until, I'd say, like around age 12. And then I really started paying attention to the players. That's back when we had players like Prince Fielder, Ryan Braun, Ricky Weeks. That was kind of when I started getting interested, and they started getting better because they had not been that good of a team.
Yeah, there were some good years there.
Yeah, there were.
Yeah, at that time the Cubs were terrible, and just we were at the bottom, and you were at the top, and the Cardinals were near the top, and just wasn't a good time to be a Cub fan. So, so
I've always respected the Brewer organization. When I was in high school, we played the '82 World Series. That's when you guys were over in the American League. But I was in the Navy. I drove by the old stadium, but last year I got a chance to see 2 Cardinal Brewer games up in Milwaukee, and I absolutely love the retractable roof. The fans are awesome. And have you been many times to the new stadium up there?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Retractable roof is nice. I love the whole interior aesthetic as well of the stadium. I think we got one of the good ones in the MLB.
Now, why did they take the Bernie used to go down into a thing of beer?
Yeah, into the beer barrel. Yeah,
what? It's gone. They took it away.
Yeah, I know, and it makes sense for our team. Not only did they got rid of that, and they got rid of the name Miller Park, which was perfect for us.
Oh, but perfect.
It was perfect, and now it's American Family Field. But if you ask anyone the Milwaukee area, everyone still calls it Miller Park.
Okay, Miller Park. Okay.
Yeah.
So who was your favorite player growing up?
Oh yeah, it was probably Ryan Braun up until the whole steroid scandal thing, and then after that, if you guys remember Corey Hart,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was a big Corey Hart fan. So yeah, not sure why, but I just always liked his style.
Yeah, I empathize with you because for a while my favorite player was Sammy Sosa.
Oh yeah.
Now I just don't want to see him anymore. He's broken my heart. So
Yeah.
oh. So you've had a pretty good team for about the past 5 years. You've kind of been revitalized, and the fan support has been tremendous. But there was also that lull between the early teens and then the early 2020s, when the team they wasn't terrible, they just wasn't playoff caliber. Were you still going to games and a big fan?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like America's pastime. So a lot of the idea of just going to the games is never really about the game itself, just kind of having fun with your friends. Especially around that time when we're just kind of in the middle. This is like when I was like 18 through like 20. So it's like when I started having more independence with my friends. So we'd go to a lot of games with each other and stuff like that. So I was still a pretty good fan during then.
Awesome.
Yeah. I always liked well, you guys, we've got a lot of connections, St. Louis and Milwaukee. You got Bob Bucher doing the games, and he's a treasure. I have yet to see the statue. There's a statue somewhere at the top of the stadium. I've yet to see a statue though, but Ted Simmons, my favorite Milwaukee Brewer was actually Raleigh Fingers. When you guys had him.
Oh yeah, Fingers was cool.
He was unstoppable. And I never cared for Nigel Morgan. One time he said the only way the Cardinals gonna see the playoffs is on their TVs at home. That dirty dog.
Yeah, that guy can talk some smack for sure.
That got us fired up.
Yeah.
Okay, now JJ, he did something dirty to me. He went to a couple of games in Milwaukee last year, and he told a Brewers fan that I'm with one Cardinal, one Cub, one beer. And who's the most obnoxious fans, the Cardinal fans or the Cub fans? Knowing that JJ was the Cardinal fan, the guy immediately went to the Cub fan. So I'm going to ask you, who are the most obnoxious fans, the Cardinal fans or the Cub fans?
I have to go with Cub fans. I'm sorry.
Oh,
yeah. Especially just the proximity to Milwaukee. I mean, we get a lot of Cubs fans coming up there during the series, acting kind of like it's their second home kind of thing. And
acting, it is their second home.
No, it's not. We own that. No. And then especially, I mean, with our rivalry in football with the Bears and not so much the Bulls in basketball, but there's always just kind of that Chicago-Milwaukee kind of so yeah,
it's a great rivalry, and for so many years you had the Braves in Milwaukee in the National League, and the Cubs just weren't that good. The Braves were a much better team, and then you got the Brewers, who used to be the Pilots in Seattle, and then they were in the American League. So even though you had this close proximity, there wasn't a great rivalry. And the White Sox were never competitive, and the Brewers had a hard time being competitive in a lot of those years. So there wasn't a great rivalry there. But it seems like as soon as the Brewers jumped into the National League, the rivalry between the Cubs and the Brewers got heated fast. And I think it is because, we jokingly call Miller Park Wrigley North.
Exactly. Yeah.
And there are times when I'm watching a game and the Cubs are playing the Brewers, and I'm like, I think we got them like 50-50 as far as the fans go.
Yeah, I hate to admit it, but you guys travel up there pretty well. So, it's kind of a 50-50 thing.
I
Yeah.
seen a sign in the parking lot that said parking around the stadium's $20. But if the Cubs are in town, it's $40. They
Yeah,
kind of check
it's
the
true.
prices up.
It's actually true. Yeah, they do raise the prices for that. Yeah.
Now, my question for you is this Milwaukee's year? I want to win a division every year. The Cardinals, I like them to win a division every year. It's not, reasonable thinking, but every game I want to win. But I'd like to see whoever wins the Central go pretty far because we
Yeah.
always considered one of the weaker divisions. Do you think this is Milwaukee's year?
I'm gonna say no, just because every time I say yes, I get my heart broken.
Smart man.
Interesting fact is that I think over the last 5 years, we've made the playoffs, and every team that beat us has made the World Series. So it would be nice to break that curse and make it to there. But I mean, last time we made the World Series was '82. We never won a World Series ever. It's kind of hard to like just think, oh yeah, this is it. This is the time right now. So
There was a team that won 108 years between World Series.
True. True. Yeah. Haven't had as bad.
Hey, man, I buried my grandpa at the age of 94, 95, and he never saw Cubs win a World Series. And I'm thinking, gosh, are we going to bury my dad? And he nods. And I think, am I ever going to see it? So it was kind of like, well, at least I can die now. So
yeah, I will say that I was rooting for the Cubs during that 2016 run.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I think the nation was.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, just both those teams in general. They like Indians ever won in a long time or something, and then Cubs had won like 108 years. I think that's probably the most fun World Series, including the one last year too, that has gone on recently.
Yeah. Very good. What was your reaction when you heard that Craig Counsell jumped ship to the Cubs?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, the day of, like 30 minutes into like the news article dropping, receiving texts from all my friends and family being like, "Can you believe it? I can't believe this is happening." Everyone was very bitter about it. Some people more so than others. Some people got a little too upset about it. Well, because he's such a Milwaukee guy, kind of raised here, coached the team, played for us. He had a park in the Milwaukee area named after him, and like I think the park got like graffitied or something, which I'm not happy about. And a lot of people were upset, but also, I mean, if you get the chance to be the highest paid manager in the MLB, I think you're going to take that, So I can't hate the man too much.
Yeah, I can't believe he still lives in the Milwaukee metropolitan area. I think I would have.
Does he? I did not know that.
Yes, I would have moved. I would have said, before you announce this, let me buy a house first in Chicago.
Yeah, right. Yeah, let me get out of here ASAP.
Well, that's awesome. I'm going to ask you about two more things. First of all, you have a very interesting background in that you are an opera singer. How did
I
you
am.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
How did you get into opera?
Well, I started my entire life, like even in elementary school, I would get notes from my teachers that was like, he's good to have in class, but he distracts everyone with his singing. So I've just always loved just to sing. And then like I just kind of thought of this as kind of like, something I like to do. But then in middle school, my sister told me that all the cute boys in her grade do the choir. So I'm like, well, I want to be considered a cute boy. So I started that. That's honestly the true reason why I started doing music as like a thing. But then I fell in love with it, and I just felt that I was good enough to continue moving forward. And once we got to the point of college, whether or not I would pursue it, I was just thinking, if I get to the age of like 60 and I look back, like I don't want to like regret the idea that I didn't do what I wanted to do. So I just stuck with it, just got my master's in it, feeling confident about it. So yeah, happy where I'm at.
Fantastic.
And your next in comedy, we call it a gig. Your next gig is where?
I'm going to Italy to be Papageno in the Magic Flute, which is an opera by Mozart. Yeah.
Hey,
Very
Yeah.
nice.
fantastic.
Yeah,
I
very
heard the
excited.
rots are terrible in Italy, but you know.
yeah, that might have to go up to Germany for that.
You should sing the national anthem up there at
I
Miller
should,
Park.
yeah. I mean, all my friends told me to do that too. Something interesting about the national anthem. One of the hardest songs anyone could ever sing. It's common, you hear it all the time, but it's really a difficult song. But I would love to at some point, yeah, sing to the Brewers.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now, I'm a big collector. Do you have any Brewer memorabilia? Do you collect anything, cards or autographs or books or anything like that you have of the Brewers?
Geez, I think the only thing I got is the sweatshirt and this lanyard, which is not very much a collectible item, just something I have.
Very cool. See, you're better than me. I'm stuck with, I'm logged down with all this stuff that I love, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I think I had more of a collection growing up. Had a signed Ryan Braun baseball that I had for a while. I don't know what happened to it though. I think I started actually using it as a baseball because we ran out.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay. I've been waiting for you to be on because I want you to tell JJ the story of your on-field experience at Miller Park.
All right.
Yes. So I was one of the racing sausages for the Milwaukee Brewers for one of the games. Yeah.
Very good. We love the
Yeah.
sausage races.
Oh yeah.
Were you a particular one, or did it switch every night?
See, I was only at once, only for one game, and I was chorizo for that game.
Oh.
Because my grandmother, I'm part Mexican, and my grandmother, fully Mexican, was the head of the Milwaukee Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and she pretty much created chorizo as a racing sausage because it used to just be four of them prior, and then with that, during like the Mexican Heritage Night for Milwaukee Brewers, she was like, "Hey, do you want to be one of the racing sausage?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, hell yeah!" And then so I got to be chorizo, and on Mexican Heritage Night, and I came in fourth. So I felt like I kind of disrespected everyone there. With
you came to the party. That's all that matters.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, I didn't get left. Did not get left.
There were some people watching the games on satellite in Tijuana, Mexico.
Exactly. Yeah.
He has shamed our culture.
Exactly.
Fourth.
Put $100 on that sausage. Can't believe supposed to win tonight. Yeah.
That is a great story. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was a great time.
When Rebecca said that she was dating you, I'd kind of met you once, and before that, and she said, "What do you think?" I said, "I'm not impressed." She said, "But he was a racing sausage in Milwaukee." I said, "That's great then."
Yeah, that's all you need, right? Yeah.
That's great. Well, Brendan, we do want to thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Brewers, and good luck in Italy. And
thank you.
Good luck with Rebecca, because we didn't know what to do with her, so we shipped her off to college. So good luck with her. I hear that in the background.
Yeah. She might be listening in, right?
All right. Well, Brendan, you have a good one, and we will see you later. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. Had a great time.
All right.
All right. See ya.
All right. JJ, what are you opening up?
Oh, I got some more of those Heritage 2024 baseball cards, and they made it look traditional packs. That's my favorite set. So I'm opening those, and let me get these out. Takes me back. And while I'm doing that, out of the actual 75 set, I have Bob Forsch's rookie card. There's old Bob Forsch, longtime Cardinal, one of the all-time favorites right there. So that was Forsch's rookie card, 1975. And then here's this set. Phillies right here, Bryce Harper. I like the
Any
jerseys
good?
they got right there. Yeah, he's a pretty good cat right there.
He's
What do you think? Hall of Fame? Hall of Fame? Shot at the Hall of
getting
Fame?
there. He's got over 300 home runs. He's kind of like a modern day Reggie Jackson. He plays with a lot of flair, and he tends to rise to the occasion. So
Some kid asked him to come with him so he could ask this girl to the prom. I don't know if you heard about this. So
no.
he went with this Philadelphia kid to this girl's house, and he goes, "Hi, I'm Bryce Harper. Johnny has something he wants to ask you." And she was like, "Oh my God." And then instead of hugging the kid, she hugged Bryce Harper.
See, some people don't like him. I think he's a cool guy.
It took me a while. I thought he was a little cocky when he first came up with hey, that's a clown question, and the way his hair would flip. I was like, he's a showboat. But you know what? I've got to like him, and he plays the way like a Pete Rose. He plays like a Pete all out. He plays hardcore. You can't help but love a guy like that, man. Yeah, I'm on the boat with him. Bryce Harper's good. Here's another good one, Manny Machado, right
Manny.
there. Yeah.
Yep. Couple more years, he'll be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he's very good. Great years in Baltimore, too. Here is the run batting leader, the RBI batting leaders from 2023. And I like these leader cards right there. So, who we've got here? We got Tucker and Matt Olson. Kyle Tucker and Matt Olson right there. And on the back, it's like the top 10 in each league. Love that. Love that. Ozzy Alvis. That may be a Hall of that guy's a phenomenal player too. That Brave team is just stacked.
Yeah.
You always mention somebody and they show up in the cards. There's Charlie Morton right there.
Oh gosh, yeah, wicked
Charlie.
curveball. I think
Big.
we're facing him tonight.
Oh, big game Charlie Morton. I do not know this guy. Danny Raffaella, Boston Red Sox. I honestly don't know this kid.
No, he's good looking. That's all I can
Good
say.
looking kid. Oh, I'm so glad he's on our team. Kyle Gibson. And he took over that charity that Wainwright started here in St. Louis. Anyway, they go out and do a lot of things for the community. Nick,
son of Bob Gibson.
son of Bob Gibson. Two more cards here. CJ Cronin of the Rockies. We don't get any Rocky cards.
Decent career. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice career. I remember him with the Angels. And finally, you're going to have to help me with this last name. Nick Castellanos of the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yep.
Was he a Cub?
Yep.
Okay, I thought he was. Right there. Nice swing. Anyway, that's it for my set of cards.
Okay, I am opening up the 1992 Fleer Ultra Series 2.
Ooh, yeah.
Beautiful gold packaging. This is
Yeah.
made of solid gold.
Hey. Oh, yeah. Rex Smith. Remember Rex Smith and Marilyn McCoo on Solid Gold?
Oh, the solid gold dancers.
Oh, yeah. They were always gyrating around.
Oh, the poor kids. They have no idea what it was like.
Oh, y'all missed out.
Dancers, you know.
Marilyn McCoo.
All right. Oh, I love these cards. One of the Nasty Boys, Norm Charlton.
Oh, yeah. 1990 Cincinnati Reds.
I love the backs, too.
Oh, yeah. I like that. The gloss.
Former Cincinnati Red, Pittsburgh Pirate, Gary Redus.
Nice player.
Rare.
I knew him as an outfielder. It looked like he's playing first base right there.
I forgot about this guy. Chicago White Sox pitcher, Kurt McCaskill.
Yeah, I remember the name. I couldn't tell you anything about him.
The Angels. Yeah. Oh, gosh. 91, 10, and 19. Sorry, Kurt. One of my all-time favorites from back in the day, Otis Nixon. Love the speed.
Putting a bunt down.
Oh, yeah. He could play
He's disruptive. Very disruptive player.
Former Cubs catcher, current manager of the Mariners, Scott Service. Former Dodger pitcher Tim Cruz.
Yeah.
See, I was spoiled last week with that awesome package.
Oh yeah.
Like
Everybody, Hall of Famers and All Stars.
former Philly All-Star Ruben Amaro.
Yes.
Oh, former St. Louis Cardinal Jose De Leon.
Jose De Leon. If he just got some hitting help, that guy could have won 20 games for us.
I have a Hall of Famer.
Woo!
Gary Camera Carter.
Yes, the kid. Yes, Montreal Expos and the Mets.
For some reason, this guy lives in the St. Louis area now, even though I never played here. Even though one time he was reviled here. Former All-Star Darryl Strawberry.
Yeah, I don't know how he ended up in St. Louis, but Darryl.
Former Kansas City second baseman Keith Miller.
I don't remember him much.
I remember the name. That's about it. Ooh, Randall Kurt Myers, who pitched for the Cubs.
Oh yeah, and he was a nasty boy too.
Yep. Jim McNamara, catcher for the Giants.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, St. Louisan, who used to play for the Cardinals, Red Sox third baseman. I think he won a batting title once. Scott Cooper.
Scott Cooper. Yeah, played like a year here.
Did you ever meet him?
Never met Scott Cooper.
I wonder if he still lives in this area. But, anyway, those are my cards. I want to thank our guest, Brendan. You did great. And my daughter was in the background.
I heard her.
Yeah. Yeah. If I didn't tease my kids, they would think I did well.
Oh, yeah.
So
anyway. My kids give me so much trouble. Sometimes they bust my chops. I laugh. I go, "Oh, that was a good one. That was a good one."
About a year ago, I once sent this recording to all the other kids saying, "This is Dad." Someone is having a conversation. Oh, actually, it's a TikTok. Someone's having a conversation, and the person they're having a conversation just out of the clear blue sky said, "Did you know Donald Duck was colorblind?" And had nothing to do. And the person just kind of looked at him, and everyone said, "That's Dad." Am I really like that? Yes. You will suddenly pop up with something that has nothing to do with anything else we were talking about.
Hey, you keep it light. Keep it going.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just scatterbrained. So. Anyway, hey, JJ, you have a great week.
You too, sir. Good luck to the Cubbies.
We will see you next week.